Well, good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. This is Scott Manning coming to you from my home here in Columbus. I want to thank all my loyal viewers for tuning in out there tonight. I'm just glad to have all of you here. I got the news and the notes of the day, so I'm just going to jump right into it. New York Jets quarterback Michael Vick, who was on the receiving end of Roger Goodell's justice 7 years ago, defended the embattled NFL commissioner, saying on Thursday, Goodell does not deserve to lose his job. Goodell is under intense fire from the intense fallout of the Ray Rice and Adrian Peterson situations, along with the domestic violence allegations involving other players. So, once again, Goodell's back in the spotlight. But also, too, one of these players is also facing suspension. Arizona Cardinals running back Jonathan Dwyer was placed on the reserve non-NFL injury list on Thursday. The team announced Arizona has opted to continue paying Dwyer his $730,000 base salary, which comes to $42,941 per week, according to reports. By putting him on the NFI, the Cardinals could have decided not to pay him. I don't understand this at all. It's a little confusing to me, so I just go by what I see on the internet. So that's basically what I'm reporting to you. So that's where we stand. So, folks, I just want to let you know the NFL is not the only league. The National Football League is not the only sport that's having problems right now. As a matter of fact, Major League Baseball has had a performance-enhancing drug problem for so many years. And as a matter of fact, Barry Bonds today tried to erase his conviction, as attorneys for both sides were prepped with skeptical questions from a panel of judges. As Barry Bonds seeks to erase his federal conviction for obstruction of justice, the attorneys argued in a brief hearing Thursday in front of a 11-judge panel of the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals over Bonds' conviction stemming from a 2003 appearance before a grand jury. Bonds' lawyer Dennis Royden argued that the unresponsive answer Bonds gave to a question about whether he had received an injectable substance did not constitute obstruction. Chief Judge Alex Gonzalski replied that one can be misled with the truth and lead a grand jury down a blind alley, but Judge Susan Garber told prosecutors she does not see sufficient evidence that Bonds obstructed justice because he was asked and he answered the question later in his testimony. So that's where we stand with the Barry Bonds issue right now. Hopefully, I might be able to address that a little bit more tomorrow night. I just got this today. I hope to address this a little bit more tomorrow, so then we'll have to wait and see what happens from there. If you had a chance to watch some college football tonight, it was a lot better than the NFL game here tonight. Auburn beat Kansas State 20-14. Kansas State miscues hurt them. In the end, Jake Waters threw for 245 yards, but he threw for 2 interceptions. One was in the Auburn red zone. Nick Marshall threw for 231 yards tonight. So congratulations to Auburn for beating Kansas State tonight. And it was for the first time since 1984 they beat a non-conference. So congratulations to Auburn. What I wrote down a minute ago was kind of incorrect. I do apologize for that. I just wanted to mention that real quick because Auburn's got a tough schedule coming up. It doesn't get any easier. So I'll have to wait and see what happens from there. So Saturday, folks, here on CBS, if you tune in, Florida plays Alabama. That game is in Tuscaloosa. 3:30 Saturday on CBS. I'm hoping to have all my loyal viewers for tuning in for that. Ohio State has a bye week this week, which is good. Seems how Noah Spence is still suspended for failing a drug test because he can't keep himself clean away from the drugs. So we have another week to get ready for Cincinnati as Cincinnati comes to town. I hope and pray we play better than we did because Cincinnati scares me. And folks, it's not going to get easier for Ohio State down the road. It's just going to get a lot tougher. I'm hoping and praying that I hope we can pull out some victories and win the Big Ten championship, but our national title hopes are gone. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Also tonight, too, we got some baseball scores. I'm going to bring you up to date on some pennant races going on. Texas beat Oakland today 7-2. The Yankees beat the Rays 3-2. Pittsburgh beat Boston 3-2. The Nationals beat the Marlins 6-2 today. The Dodgers beat the Cubs 8-4. Cleveland beat Houston 2-1 in 13. St. Louis beat Milwaukee 3-2 in a 13-inning marathon. The Rockies beat the D-backs tonight 7-6. The Padres beat the Phillies 7-3. Seattle beat LA 3-1. And as it stands right now, Detroit still leads Kansas City by a half game in the American League Central. And I'll tell you what, neither two didn't play today because they got a real tough series coming up. Starting tomorrow night at 8 o'clock on Friday night on a special Friday night edition of ESPN Baseball on ESPN2. 8 o'clock on Friday night, watch Detroit play Kansas City. That is the start of a very important 3-game series. So, folks, keep in mind, If you think the Central's going to be, maybe the Central might be decided as early as this weekend, depending on how it goes, because both teams know this is a must-win series if you're going to get in the playoffs. That's all it boils down to. And in a wild card race, Kansas City still leads Oakland. However, Seattle's only one game behind. Texas beat Oakland today, but the Mariners beat the Angels. I saw that game just a little while ago. They are only one game back of a wild card spot. So, folks, buckle your seatbelts. It's going to get crazy. And it's already crazy now. It's just going to get more crazy getting closer to October, because before we know it, we're only just about 2 weeks away from being in the month of October. So you really need to think about what's going to happen down the road. As far as the National League goes, the Cardinals still lead Pittsburgh by 2.5. The Dodgers lead the Giants by 2.5 in the National League West. San Francisco and Pittsburgh still have the 2 wild card spots. Milwaukee is the only competition there, only 3.5 games out. And they lost tonight to St. Louis in 13 innings tonight, in a 13-inning marathon. So, folks, I'm just going to say it now. Buckle your seatbelts. It's going to get crazy. And as a matter of fact, a case in point, Friday night at 8 o'clock on ESPN2, Detroit plays Kansas City in a must-win series for both teams, and both teams know it. So that's all I've got to say about that. But before I go tonight, and finally tonight, I just want to say special congratulations to Devin Hester for setting the new NFL record with his 20th touchdown return for a touchdown in his career when he ran back a 62-yard punt for a touchdown against Tampa Bay on Thursday night. Hester previously shared the record with his mentor Deion Sanders, who was at the game working for the CBS network and the NFL network. And he saluted Hester on the video board here tonight. And a little later on, he tweeted his approval. As for the game itself, it was over in 5 minutes. Atlanta won big 56-14. And how ironic. Guess who was on the opposing sideline tonight when Hester broke the record? His former coach when they were both with the Chicago Bears. Lovie Smith was coaching the Buccaneers, and when Hester broke the record tonight. So that is basically going to wrap it up this weekend. I just want to let you know tonight's show is sponsored in part by you, the fans, and for all the dedication that you folks have shown me. I want to thank all my loyal viewers for tuning in out there tonight. But before I go, I've got a question of the night I want to ask you, and it's a very, very simple one at that. Do you think Devin Hester is going to the Hall of Fame? It's a very simple. Let me repeat the question, and I'm going to post this on my Facebook page for everybody to see. Do you think Devin Hester is going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton? I'm going to say yes. As long as he plays healthy, he's a shoe. I think he may be a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame. So I'm going to go ahead, and I would love to hear from all of you. It doesn't have to be about Hester. It can be about anything you want. If you agree with me, or even if you disagree with me, I would love to hear from you. I'm on Google. I'm on Google+, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the night. And I want to thank all my loyal viewers for tuning in. And I just want to say, this is Scott Manning saying good night, good luck, and thank you. And I thank you, and good night.